A lot of the movies that we were inspired by as we grew up were movies like Back to the Future and E.T. and Star Wars. And as soon as Jurassic Park came out, we were just blown away, and we knew that we needed to do this. And it wasn't just a want, we needed to do this with the rest of our lives. So we worked our butts off through high school and ended up getting a job with Lucasfilm on Star Wars Episode 1 as part of their previs team 2 days after we graduated from high school, which was an amazing, amazing opportunity. Here at Atomikfiktion, the most important thing above and beyond anything else, because I know we all love geeking out about our technology and how big our render farms are and what software we use, but ultimately all of that stuff is a means to an end to enable creative artists to make really, really cool stuff.
Absolutely imperative that we have tools that are, well known to the artists, easy to pick up for artists that haven't used them before, and also have an infrastructure that we're able to modify for our needs, especially for sending things to the cloud.
We use Nuke for all of our compositing and actually a surprisingly large amount of 3D work. We use Modo and Mari as well on some of our more recent projects. One of the things I love about working with Foundry is they're very kind of artist and workflow centric. Have the tools that the Foundry is making be more and more sort of design focused is actually a really, really cool thing. And they're not overly complicated for the sake of being good design tools either. We were really, really excited at the opportunity of working on Star Trek. And a lot of those shots were from design, concept design, all the way through to final execution. So this is the most fun kind of work that you can do on a feature. One of the scenes we worked on for the film, which was called Torpedo Trip, involves them landing on the surface of this small planetoid and trying to figure out what the heck this torpedo thing that they've been stuck with is. And it was a real challenge because what JJ wanted is something that looked like it could have been shot on Earth, but was clearly alien, right? So it couldn't be too fantasy, but it couldn't be too naturalistic. It had to be somewhere in between. Basically, the setting on set, which was actually shot in Marina del Rey, was about 100 foot by 100 foot patch of black volcanic gravel. We ended up coming up with this look of kind of these giant volcanic rocks that had then, kind of deteriorated into all these volcanic rocks, the smaller ones on the ground, and had fissures in the ground with steam coming out of them, and really just went to town with. We actually populated the surface of this planetoid with millions of actual 3D rocks to give a seamless transition between what was there on set and what's in the background. Modo helps us a lot when we're doing a scene like the engine room scene in Star Trek Into Darkness, where not only is it a really, really fast modeling tool for subdiv surfaces, but it also has some great kind of kit bashing tools in it as well. So you have these little libraries of stuff that you can just throw in there to add visual complexity. Cosmos has been a particularly interesting project for us because it's a little bit more outside the box of what we usually do.
They're running a full gamut between photoreal visual effects and then these more microscopic visualizations to all sorts of other crazy stuff that we're doing.
It's less about integrating CG and plates, although there is some of that, but it's more about creating these like almost fantasy worlds that are actually real. They're microscopic level stuff.
Something like Modo, I didn't actually realize the full extent of how powerful it was until we started using it internally. I think the thing that sets it apart is that you can start with a model, build it out procedurally texture it, which is something that was, I think that was probably the biggest win for us.
What we've been able to see people do using Modo as a tool has been really remarkable. I never expected the renderer to be able to perform the way it does in a million years, and this has been a godsend for Cosmos. For a lot of this microscopic level stuff that you're inside of a fleshy vein of a bear or watching cells decay, things like that, this soft subsurface look, the in-render depth of field with the motion blur, it just all combines to make a really, really natural look. The reason we use tools like Nuke, or the reason we use Modo and Mari as well, is to make sure that we have as many resources as possible freed up to spend on the artists. Because good artists, they're expensive, they need time to create the best work possible, and they need the tools to do it. And if you give them those things, they will create magic out of thin air.